In this video, we are going to talk about top 10 fun countries in the world. So, before starting the video, please like this video. Do subscribe and turn on the notification to our channel for future updates. 10. Turkey. Istanbul has traditionally been at the world's crossroads, where the Bosphorus thin ribbon divides Asia from Europe, and hence east from west. It has recently elevated its status with the opening of a game-changing international airport that intends to be the world's largest, and it has won admirers among our readers for its modern design and spectacular duty-free shopping zone. Returning visitors will find all of their favorite aspects of Istanbul, from its minaret-studded skyline to the endless stalls of the Grand Bazaar, but there are also plenty of new attractions, such as a blossoming contemporary gallery scene in Bohemian Karakay. Further afield, the turquoise coast, with its traditional hammams and party-oriented resorts, attracts jet-setters, and there's a completely new, but very old, incentive to travel east into Anatolia. 9. Croatia. New direct flights from the United States, widespread word of mouth, and a tiny HBO program about dragons have suddenly elevated this Balkan beauty to superstar status, raising fears that locations like Dubrovnik will follow Venice's tourist-clogged path. While the Dalmatian coast's jewel is clearly a must-see, there's so much more to see, from Istria's rising gastronomic hotspot in the north to sun-drenched Hvar in the south, which our readers voted as their favorite island in Europe. If you want to view the nation from a completely different perspective, charter a schooner to sail the tranquil Cornutus, the Mediterranean's densest archipelago with 147 limestone karst islands, aromatic wild plants, and modest taverns where you can be the only tourist. 8. Greece. It was very much on purpose if it seemed like everyone you knew went to Greece this summer. In May, in need of tourist revenue, the country opened its borders, crossing its fingers that people would return, and they did, in droves. After a year stuck inside, the sparkling seas of the Aegean drew us back to our favorite islands, 6 of which you voted into the top 10 on this year's list of the greatest islands in Europe: Crete, with millennia of mythological history. Off the beaten path Paros, UNESCO-listed Rhodes, car-free Hydra, delightfully remote Zakynthos, and whitewashed Mykonos, which is slowly growing out of its party-hardy reputation. 7. Iceland. The eruption of the Geldingadalur volcano in Iceland's Reykjanes Peninsula this year had a symbolic quality to it, that red-hot lava, like the rest of humanity, was ready to erupt after being trapped inside for a long time, in the lava's case, 782 years. Reykjavik, home to big thinkers like visual artist and luxury fragrance brand founder Andrea Mock, is a remarkably creative city for those coming to Iceland after the initial volcanic hysteria has died down. The Reykjavik edition, the capital's first hotel befitting of its posh reputation, opened this fall, and while it would make a fine home base for a long weekend, the government is attempting to reverse over-tourism trends by encouraging guests to stay longer and slow down. While other locations trimmed their tourism budgets in 2020, Iceland upped its by 40%, with plans to repair infrastructure in Instagram-famous spots like Stelagil Canyon. 6. Italy. Last year's first-place finisher was one of the first to be infected with the coronavirus, which meant that many of us could only live vicariously through Stanley Tucci's new CNN travelogue, Luca Guadagnino's HBO miniseries We Are Who We Are, Pixar's Luca, and iPhone videos of Italians locked up singing from their balconies. Consider them all a taste of what's to come when you return, as a slew of new openings, events, and designations will entice visitors from the top of the boot to the bottom, and beyond. The porticos of Bologna and the 14th-century frescoes of Padua were both added to UNESCO's World Heritage List this year, while Palermo's gorgeously restored Villa Igia is bringing the glitterati back to Sicily's oft-overlooked main city. Another Sicilian stunner constructed out of a 14th-century Dominican convent and a reinvented 1,000-year-old castello in Umbria are among the many fresh new hotels springing up across Italy. Meanwhile, Procida, a little island off the coast of Naples, is rising from the shadow of its more famous siblings in the Bay of Naples as the Italian capital of culture for 2022, the first time an island has been given the honor. 5. Sri Lanka. This South Asian country crams a lot of punch into a teardrop-shaped island only slightly larger than West Virginia. Think vibratingly green high-elevation tea plantations, national parks with sloth bears and endangered elephants roaming free, and pleasant coastal towns that, if you squint, might remind you of Costa Rica or Nicaragua a decade ago. Then there's Colombo, the country's capital, where you can go spice shopping, sail kites along the coastline, or even charter a yacht. Sri Lanka has faced a number of challenges in recent years as it worked to establish itself as a global tourism contender. From the 2019 Easter Sunday bombings to the pandemic, and it's hoping to regain visitors' trust with its trademark hospitality and good nature, not to mention an ever-expanding roster of new hotels and resorts. 4. Morocco. Morocco has traditionally been a doorway for travelers from the West, not just to the African continent but also to the Arab world as a whole. It's easy to romanticize the raids, bustling markets, and maze-like medinas that have captivated visitors for centuries, but don't overlook the city's equally dynamic 21st century culture. As they turn to the future, creatives of all stripes, boutique hoteliers, jewelry designers, textile producers, and visual artists, are drawing on traditional motifs, with Marrakesh and Tangier emerging as design hotspots. Fashionistas go to the Musée Yves Saint Laurent Marrakesh, which opened in 2017, and the city is now one of Africa's most prominent contemporary art hotspots, home to buzzy new institutions like the Museum of Contemporary African Art Al Mahden and the experimental Comptoir des Mines. 3. Japan. What percentage of our readers choose Japan to be their favorite country? In our list of the finest large cities in the world, Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto came in first, second, and third, respectively. Last year, the capital was getting ready to host the Summer Olympics, complete with the new Kangokuma-designed national stadium inspired by Edo period temples. However, things did not proceed as planned. The great restaurants, ultra-relaxing onsens, Shinto temples, cherry blossoms, and impeccably clean and efficient high-speed trains will all be waiting for you when you return. But in this futuristic nation, there's always something fresh to discover. Is there a burgeoning gent scene? Sure. Is there a 1,599 hilltop castle where you can arrange overnight stays? Certainly. 2. New Zealand. Kiwis created bungee leaping, pronounced bungee, canyon swinging, and zorbing, or, as you may know it, careening down a mountainside in a translucent plastic ball. Last year, though, the country adopted a different approach, foregoing thrills in favor of caution, enacting some of the world's harshest lockdown measures. The risk paid off, with only 28 COVID-related deaths in New Zealand since January 2020. While we can't fault a successful epidemic approach, we do miss our favorite natural playground. While you wait for the country to reopen, you can kill time by binge-watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy, delving into the filmography of Native Son and Oscar winner Taika Waititi, or enjoying some of the country's famous Sauvignon. 1. Portugal. It's easy to see why our readers adore Portugal, which has transformed over the last decade from a budget-conscious underdog to a significant power capable of competing with Spain and Italy. Portugal was brimming with delights that bordered on sensory overload from the start, even as it suffered under a 40-year authoritarian regime and a faltering economy. The intricate blue and white patterns of its traditional azulejo tiles, the intoxicating aroma of oven-fresh pastéis de nata, the mournful chords of live fado music. The bracing chill of a crisp Vinho Verde or the nectary sweetness of Lisbon is an easy-to-love starting point for first-timers, with its jaunty yellow trams and hilltop São Jorge Castle. But an increasing number of direct flights to Porto from the US are inviting travelers to explore the second city's contemporary cultural scene, including the newly opened World of Wine district. Then what? The terraced hillsides of the Douro Valley, the underappreciated wineries of the Alentejo area, the surfer havens of the Algarve, and even the Hawaii-like volcanic scenery of the Azores reward repeat tourists with a choose-your-own adventure. So, that's it for today's video. What are your thoughts on our video? Please let us know in comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification to our channel before you go. Thank you so much for watching.